Greetings, dear friends, fellow programmers, and those aspiring to be. Did you ever wonder, is there a perfect job for me? If you did, I have some great news for you, because in this video, I will be talking about different job roles or positions that are at our disposal and popular as we speak, and are a part of programming and web development, to be more exact. So if that sounds interesting to you, I recommend you to sit down, relax, and enjoy the video. This basically means that this video is an extension and in-depth overview of a web development category from a more general video where we covered all the different areas of programming that I covered in the previous video. So if you would like to see that one, or you're not familiar with the stuff I'm talking about right now, I highly recommend you to click the link and see that video. And now let's get back to our topic of the day. The first category we are going to be talking about today is front-end development. So when it comes to front-end development, the important part is the fact that you need to be aware that front-end is everything that gets executed on the client's browser. So when you're taking a look at some website and you are enjoying the design of it, you are basically embracing the fact that somebody was very creative and have designed a very nice looking website for you. And also all the logic that is being crunched behind the browser is also front-end logic. And everything that is outside of your browser is something else. It is back-end logic. So for now, we are focused on the front end. So when it comes to the design of websites and making it look exactly like we see it with our own eyes, that part is dedicated to markup language, which is called HTML, and also CSS, which are responsible for styling and making our web pages look exactly as we like them to. So these languages do not have any logic, they are just markups because they do not need any logic, they're just meant for us to display something. And we also have some external libraries for styling our websites, but those are again just CSS extended and precompiled with certain rules that somebody was smart enough to figure out and give us on a plate. So that was the first part, and when it comes to the actual logic that gets executed on the front end or the browser, we have a lot of options. There are quite a few languages that are being used to crunch some numbers for us in the browser itself. And now, when it comes to the languages that are being used to manipulate front end of the pages and actually introduce logic to our browsers, we have quite a few at our disposal, as I mentioned. So we have JavaScript as the main one, which is basically the core language for all the ones that I'm about to name. I'm talking about languages like React, Next.js, Vue.js, TypeScript, and jQuery. And also, those, as I mentioned, are all based on JavaScript, but also there are some languages that are based on WebAssembly. It's a completely different paradigm that is being used to render the logic on browsers, but we do not have to go into that. So if you are interested in that, you can take a look at Blazor. Those were the parts that make a front-end engineer. So if you want to be a front-end engineer, you will have to know at least one of the main popular frameworks for front-end, and also HTML and CSS are a must. If you do not know those, you should definitely sit down and spend some time. It will not take long, trust me. So that was everything about front-end. Now let's talk about back-end. As you probably know if you saw the previous video, backend is the part of your code and logic that sits around and lives on your server. Whether it's in cloud, so everywhere around the world, not at your disposal in your PC, or it can be hosted in your PC, and then your website depends on your PC. And this logic is basically going to be executed on the server, containing all the complex business rules that you want to have in place, and also it is going to be dedicated to communication with the database. So your backend is going to communicate with your database, crunch some numbers, and send the response to the client or the browser, name it as you like. And then there you have the front end to manipulate it even further if needed. So in cases when you have very simple applications, which are basically portfolio websites or some simple blog post sites, you basically do not need backend logic almost at all. You can use some very simple languages like Node.js or PHP to handle those basic situations with ease. And now when we started name dropping, it's time to talk about technologies that I think are a good choice when it comes to backend. So the first one to name, of course, is going to be the one I'm using, which is ASP.NET Core. This technology is great when you're working with very complex systems, the ones that are so-called enterprise level systems, where you have a whole bunch of business rules, complex communication with the database, security is on high demand, and things of those sorts. In those cases, you definitely do want to consider ASP.NET Core because it's a great choice. On the other hand, if your application is not as heavy on the backend, Node.js is probably the way to go because it is on the job market right now. I am free to say #1 asked programming language. Also, you have Java frameworks for web, which are, I would say, not as sought after as .NET and Node.js. And also, the Python web applications are also exploding right now because of all the blockchain and AI expansion that is happening right now. Of course, there is a gazillion other languages that I'm not so familiar with, so I will not name drop them as well. But you have all the freedom to investigate and figure out for yourself what your concrete needs for your project would benefit from the most. A logical continuation of the journey here is going to be full stack development. When it comes to full stack, as you probably know, this includes both front-end and back-end technologies that you must be very confident with. This means you will be able to make entire web applications from scratch and build both their server and client-side logic on your own. This is something you should not strive for immediately when you start learning to code. You would probably be better off to start just with backend or just with frontend, and when you master that, at some reasonable level at least, you can expand your capabilities by learning the other half. And then you would be able to name yourself a full stack developer, and actual backend and front-end developers would make fun of you because you would not be as good as they are in those particular aspects because you spread yourself too thin. Don't say that I did not warn you about that. Next in line is going to be quality assurance and testing. When it comes to this area of programming, it is very commonly neglected by people because it seems that people see it as something that is under their level, and I do not agree with that because you have testing engineers who are creating automation tests which are testing entire web applications with the code they've written. And when it comes to manual testing, those people are going to be using the application itself like a regular customer and just trying to break it because that's their job. Their job is to try to figure out ways the application is not working properly. So basically clicking everything, changing resolutions, load testing, doing all the stuff they can to break the application, and if the application still stands after they've done that, that means the application is bulletproof. And the chances of somebody breaking it in the real life are way smaller. And if you ask me, in my opinion, the easiest way to get into the world of programming is through testing, because to be a manual tester, you do not have to have any programming skills at all. You just need to be eager to learn and to be able to use a PC to test the application that you will be testing. And after that, you will be constantly with programmers and you will have people to collect knowledge from. So you will be able to join the ranks of programmers, of course, if that is your ambition, and become a programmer yourself. Then next in line we have UI UX designers. These people and these positions are also commonly neglected. And I've seen so many very serious companies that do not pay any attention to UI and UX, and basically that is why their customers are not so happy with their products. This is because UI and UX designers are people responsible for learning about good practices, about color combinations, layouts on the websites, meaningful locations to put stuff, and things of those sorts, in order to make the web application a meaningful and logical thing to use for end users without any knowledge or training or anything like that. If you need a person training other people to use your application, it means that your application is not very well done and not very intuitive to regular people. And that's a serious problem. So this profession is one of those that is neglected but contains a lot of potential and is very important for each application out there. So if you do not like coding in general and you would like to be involved in the web development process and you like to see things look pretty, this might be a nice position for you. And next in line is web design. This particular profession is blowing up in the past few years. That is because I would say the threshold to enter this area is not so high. You even do not have to be able to code. There are so many tools for drag and drop building of websites that you do not have to code anything yourself. You can just learn how to use those frameworks and you will be able to build websites without any coding. Of course, if you want to make custom solutions that will make and provide to your customers additional benefits, it would be nice to be able to code them yourself, but you do not have to. Web design includes two parts. The first one is being graphical design, where you're using tools like Adobe XD or Figma to draw design, basically just to draw it like in Paint, but with very smart tools, and then send it to actual developers who are going to build the website. Or you can be a web designer who is going to basically build the website from scratch using those drag and drop mechanisms and also do some coding yourself to make it even better. So web designer draws and makes a website while the graphical designer just does the drawing and annoys programmers, I have to say. Be ready for it. Programmers will not like you if you're a graphical designer. Point number 7 are going to be search engine optimizations. When it comes to this topic, it again requires no programming, actual programming. Your job would be to track all the trends that are provided by search engines like Google, Bing, Yahoo, and others, and make sure that your website is following all of their rules so that they would reward your website with higher rankings. This includes a whole bunch of different things that need to be addressed if you want to make sure that your website is praised by the search engines as much as possible. This, as a result, will have the fact that your website is going to get additional visitors all the time, because whenever somebody is searching for something, your website would rank higher than the rest if your SEO is great. So this will require you to be always on track with the current updates and current rules, and you will need to update the website or the owner of the website how to address those changes in his website. And your job will be to discuss these changes that need to be introduced on the website itself to follow the rules provided by search engines. Then we have digital marketing. So if you would like to be a salesperson but in digital world, this is a job for you. This is where you will be utilizing Google ads, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, Pinterest ads, and a gazillion other types of ads to basically promote your products online and reach to as many people as possible and make great creatives like ads that are going to attract as much attention as possible and basically make a lot of money for the customer you are working for or for you if you are promoting your own products. So, if you would like to be a salesperson, this is a job for you. Of course, if you do not like getting in touch with actual live people. And finally, the last job position I would like to discuss is probably the highest entry point position on the list. And that is going to be database expert. As its name suggests, you will have to be an expert in SQL and databases in order to comply with this position. So the person working as a database expert is the person responsible for optimization, security, load balancing, scalability of the database that is being used by the application that you're talking about. So you will need to be sure that all the queries for communication with the database are well optimized and are performing on the optimal level, and basically that way allow the application to scale to a lot of users without the need to spend more money on the database. Basically, you will not be able to enter as a junior developer into a position of a SQL expert because you will need years of experience to collect potential issues, optimizations, and things of those sorts in order to be treated as an expert in the area. So for this one, you can go with regular route becoming a developer for web. And basically, if you see that you are interested in databases, you can focus more energy on growing in that area, and one day you might become an expert in databases. And I can tell you with confidence that people who are true experts in databases earn a lot of money. That's for sure, because their expertise is extravagantly rare. You will be able to ask for whatever because not many people are able to do what you do. So this is a high recommendation for all of you database future experts. And that, my friend, was everything I have prepared about web development, job roles and positions that I consider trending and sought after right now. So I'm sure I've missed quite a few, and if you think that some of those that I've missed should be in the video, please do feel free to share them in the comment section below the video, and I'll kindly try to respond and explain why I did not want to put them in and put something else instead. Also, I would like to congratulate you for staying till the end of this not so short video, and as usual, to thank you for watching and wish you an amazing day. Bye.